God's up in heaven, just like, look at all these dirty dicks. What about the vaginas? Oh, they're great. Leave them as is. They're fine. Female circumcision is a terrible, terrible thing. It should never happen to anybody. But if I see any of your nasty little pee-pees with it. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So you got like 30, 40-year-old men who are just like lining up. How the fuck did they? What?
Yep. This is where it gets cool. This is the good part. This is the awesome part.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
You shout. And you go like rah, and then all of the walls fall down.
Why does it hurt so bad? Why? This is an old book. This is like one of the old books. Yes. It's not like in the book. That's not in the fucking book.
It's because of the Italian Renaissance that Jesus was white. It's like one of the biggest reasons. Because a lot of those dudes were like secretly homosexual or just outwardly gay and loved dudes or whatever. And so that's why they made Jesus look hot and white, is because they were white Italian painters. And they basically just made the hottest dude they could.
I was gonna say Jesus is very pretty in most paintings.
Oh, super pretty. That's what I think the reason is.
Which, like,
I know.
Yeah.
I think it is like kind of sort of proven that those Renaissance painters like made him white. But for me, they made him so pretty is because they wanted to have sex with Jesus, and that's just what they drew. These guys were real horny.
Yeah.
And then they were like, let's just make him hot.
They didn't have Pornhub.
Dude, they were lacking in so many pornographic outlets.
If you wanted to see a naked man, you had to kidnap him, pay him, or draw him.
Yep.
That was
guys,
it.
They're artists,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So they're going to draw him. Like Jesus is always naked.
Seriously. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Preaching to the Choir.
This is a show that we do.
It's technically a religious show.
I mean, yeah, I'd count it.
But we read a holy text.
That's it right there.
Right there. The only real difference between like our thing and like Billy Graham's thing is the number of times I've said God is a cunt.
That is the only difference.
It's increasing every episode. I'm loving it.
Every time.
Other than that, yeah, just COVID, I blow on you.
Quin reads the Bible, and I have never read it, so he reads it to me, and then we react to it the way a normal human being should react.
Which
to
doesn't
this book.
happen nearly enough.
It's not common.
Yeah. If you enjoy it,
we're...
you should subscribe.
That'd be cool.
And if you're already subscribed,
we have a Patreon.
We do.
Isn't that neat?
And Jasper will do stuff for you if you give us money.
I'll dance, baby. But also, it's tough times, and if you can't give us money, that's fair. Yeah. Things are hard. I get that, but also if you can, wow, what a brave person you are.
I don't think that brave is even remotely the correct descriptor.
Man, what a strong and brave person you are. What a
strong, independent woman you are.
You are strong and courageous, just like Joshua. Look at you go with your money.
He's being all generous and brave.
So brave.
Brave with your money.
So brave.
So a bunch of surrounding kings have heard about what's going on.
Good. That's important news.
Yeah. They're freaked out. They're a little freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently Gibeon was a huge city. And they had some of the best warriors.
That doesn't make any sense.
If they're scared of the Israelites, then like everybody's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
there's so much conquering and murder.
I know. Five of the kings in the area decide the best plan is to destroy the city of Gibeon because of reasons.
No, I mean, that makes sense to me. If that's where if they have slaves there, that means there's probably a decent number of Israelites living there. So if you were to destroy Gibeon,
they get rid of the Gibeons just still live there.
But Israelites don't?
Yeah.
But that's where their slaves are.
Yeah, that they just get to keep their city and live there.
This is all very confusing.
I know.
I'm trying to make it make sense, and it's still very confusing. So they're just like, that city that the Israelites recently conquered but don't stay in? Yeah. Destroy it. Yeah.
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 So the Gibeonites hear that the kings are, I don't know why, how, they hear that like the kings are coming to destroy them.
Yeah, who the fuck is the courier passing all this news along?
And
He's tired.
He's just taking notes in every different fucking city. He's like, oh shit, I gotta tell these guys they're gonna get murdered. I gotta tell these guys they gotta.
Here's your note.
It's like the mail carrier from Ocarina of Time.
Dude, for real, this guy's jogging everywhere. This is the best job because, yeah, you're always tired, but they need you because you're the only person who could pass this news. So no one's going to kill the messenger. This isn't fucking Sparta.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone, he's just trying to pass the news along. It's just, if only I had a bunny hood. Ugh.
That little shithead kid outran me.
God, I love that game so much.
Oh, that's so good. So the Gibeonites send a message to the Israelites, and they're like, "Don't forget that we're your slaves, so you have to help us." And Joshua's like, "Shit, you're right." And God's like, "Shit, they're right." So
you know the slave rules. You gotta help your slaves.
So God says, "Don't worry, Josh. I got you back. I will help you defend the people I made you swear to murder so that you can kill the other people that I also had you swear that you would murder." I wrote that, and it was still confusing for me to say.
You got to protect the people I told you to murder because they're now your slaves.
Right.
So you got to go kill these other people that you said you were going to go murder for me.
Yeah. Because you promised.
You promised. And these guys didn't trick you with old bread, which is so dumb. So very
stupid.
And I like how God has still not talked about that. God is just like, oh, yeah, well, they're your slaves. Yeah, it's kind of your fault that we didn't kill them. Well, it's my fault that mold is on the bread and you guys are stupid because you guys are dumb and idiots.
Kind of.
That's not even mentioned.
This
is all weird.
Yeah.
I hate this book.
I know.
Anyway.
So, yeah, moving on. So Josh takes a bunch of soldiers to intercept the 5 kings. Mm-hmm. And he and his army murder a bunch of them. And then God's like, dude, check this shit out. And he makes a hailstorm and murders a bunch of the enemy soldiers with hail. Quotes, as the Amorites retreated down the road from Beth Horon, the Lord destroyed them with a terrible hailstorm from heaven that continued until they reached Azekah. The hail killed more of the enemy than the Israelites killed with the sword.
I know why people like this book now, because that's the same thing that police officers do, is they kill people when they're running away. You got to support the police if you love God, because that's... God fucking damn it.
I know. So this is a really beautiful moment between Josh and God, where they're just really on the same wavelength as far as like stupid shit you could do.
Are they about to kiss, Steve? They about to
maybe
smooch?
They might.
Oh, hell yeah.
So Josh looks at God and he's like, you know, the only thing that'd make this cooler would be a really unnecessary magic trick. And God's like, I'm listening. And Josh says, it's super hard to kill innocent people in the dark. How about you tap that old pause button on the sun? Give us some more light to murder and rape women and children. And God's like, dude, that's dope. So he does that. God pauses the sun and
what the fuck, man?
Does not unpause the sun until they've murdered everybody.
Man, all this murder is making me very uncomfortable.
I know, it's horrible.
I don't like it.
And it's not even close to done.
I don't know.
Then the 5 kings are very afraid, understandably. So they go hide in a cave. And Joshua and the Israelites put large stones in front of the cave so the kings can't get out. Then they finish killing everything else. Then they go home, have a nice nap. Then, once they're rested, they go and get the kings out of the cave And they put them face down, and Joshua has soldiers stand on their necks. And he says the Israelites never need to be afraid of anybody. And then they publicly execute all 5 of these kings on the ground. And then they hang their bodies from a tree.
Holy fucking shit, dude.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? This is intense. Mm-hmm. It's hard to root for the Israelites right now.
Super hard.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
They're torturing and killing.
Yeah, they're
everything.
monsters.
Oh, this is awful.
Yeah.
This is really bad.
Uh-huh.
Whew.
So
these are the heroes of the story.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, no, these are the good guys. Yep.
You know, the people retreating, they're the bad guys, all right?
Well, okay, so let's take a moment to like really break this down.
Okay.
The people in Canaan had the audacity
to exist there?
to be there.
Oh, God.
If there is something more deserving of murder than being somewhere, you're not a cop.
Aha. There it is.
Brought it around.
There, we're back. We're back in the current events.
No, but like it's incredibly upsetting because like this is always genuinely like, even when I believed in this stuff, it has always bothered me a little bit, the idea that like if God picks somebody else first, then you're just fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's it, and it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, there's so many problems with that I agree with you entirely. None of this makes any sense in the fact that he was just like, it's the Israelites, I like them more, and he doesn't even like them. He doesn't even fucking like them. He just throws them. Yeah, like he's stuck with them, and he doesn't have to be, which is so fucking bizarre. None of this makes any sense. He's just like, well, these are my guys now, you know?
It's just such a weird thing where like he's wiped out the population of the planet twice. Mm-hmm. And he can't just like, but he's always saved people, right? Mm-hmm. Like, or he wiped out the population of the planet once, but he started it with Adam and Eve. They fucked up, so he kicked them out of paradise. And then they populated the world. And he didn't like the way the world got populated, so he murdered everybody except for Noah. Mm-hmm. And then they redid it again. Just don't save anybody. Just start over entirely.
You don't like anybody.
You fucked up the dick thing. Like, that's clearly a sticking point for you. Maybe just restart all the way.
He's just bad at being God.
It just bad at it. They bring up later at the end of this, they the Israelites have been in Canaan before, like generations and generations and generations before. Jacob had been in Canaan briefly, and he bought land there. And they bring that up at the end of this this book, and it's just so disturbing, the idea that like they abandoned this land for generations and people moved there of their like built cities. And then God was just like, yeah, but I didn't talk to you. Mm-hmm. It's just so fucked. And
it doesn't make any sense. Like, why did they leave where they were? What was wrong with where they were? Like the milk and honey thing, but they've been a lot of places. Like they all seem about the same.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an actual place that's flowing with milk and honey. And then you translate that into real life. People use this as a thing where they want to kill other people because of that reason. It's like, man, fuck, every place is the same.
Yeah.
Like, what? People have been killing people over this book because they want to go to the place and like, but that land is mine. And like, it says so in this book because I'm from these people. It's just so, like, what's wrong with where you're at? You know, maybe I'm just oversimplifying everything that's going on in the world.
Well,
but
I think
it's just
at the same time that you are, I think you're really not, because the whole thing is just that everybody wants to be special. The reason that everybody's angry about the land, like this land is because they're God's chosen people. If you were just dumb shit number one, you'd just be grateful to not have sand in your asshole or whatever. But the fact that you were born as the ultimate recipient of God's gift of the best land, you deserve that. So now it's time to go fucking get yours or what. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
right.
a good point.
Let's see if we can get to something funny. The next, we'll try. The next two chapters are like, they're basically the same thing as like when they do like quick cuts in a TV show when like a team is like getting their shit together, like they're bank robbers, and like every heist goes better, like, and it shows like little snippets from each. Like,
it's a montage.
Yeah, so they're just montaging murdering probably millions of people on, if we're being totally honest.
The murder montage. I have a list of kings that they've killed.
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. It's just, that's all it is. It's just a list of murdered people.
Yeah. So there's a chapter called Israel defeats the southern kings. Oh, I'm sorry. That was what we just talked about. And then Israel defeats the southern cities, which is 1026 or 1028. And then Israel defeats the northern kings, which is just another 6 paragraphs of them murdering people. I'm just going to randomly pick 1119. Joshua conquered the entire region, the hill country of the Negev, the land of Goshen, the western foothills, the Jordan Valley, the mountains. It's just them murdering people for 3 chapters. It's crazy. It quickly flashes to the heroes murdering innocent people and burning cities over and over again. And then it turns out that much like Pharaoh, none of the people in Canaan asked for any of this. Quote, no one in this region made peace with the Israelites except the Hivites of Gibeon. All the others were defeated, for the Lord hardened their hearts and caused them to fight the Israelites. So they were completely destroyed without mercy, as the Lord had commanded Moses.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Uh-huh.
It's fucked up. I don't like it.
Yeah.
God's an asshole. God's
a huge piece of shit.
This is, I don't know. It's hard when you're like, right now. I feel like it's really hard for me to, I don't know, like make jokes just because I'm trying to think of like people take this book so seriously. And right now it's just a murder fest.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're going to call me a pussy because I'm reading a bunch of murders and I'm tired of it, like, that's fine. But this book is super duper important to a lot of people, and it's hard for me to fathom, like, overlooking all of this and then just being like, but there was one time there was a dude who hung out with lions and nothing happened. It's like, there's so much murder.
But...
They're killing the world. This is some Genghis Khan shit.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is that within the context of the story, they're in the right because they worship the right God. And if you cherry pick, you can make it seem like the other people didn't worship that God. And so they had a negative effect by existing and worshiping the wrong God.
Again, I know I've mentioned this before as like reading fucking comic books and stuff. You're just like, oh, what universe does this comic book fall into? This fucking book falls into our universe. And if people did praise the wrong God, this shit would happen. This is supposed to happen. This is shit that happened fucking 4,000 years ago. That's not that long ago. Like, it's a long, long time ago. But in the grand scheme of things, like,
not that long.
What the fuck, dude? This is insane. Like, this book exists. If people actually worship Satan, and then they'd be fucking burned because that's the wrong dude to worship. No one would do that. And it would be very clear. There'd be war. There'd be fucking... Right now, I'm just chilling in the house with the fucking satanic Bible, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't make any sense. How could you possibly be like, well, this is what happened because they worship the wrong God? Man, I don't know. If I'm a god and, like, people are worshiping the wrong ones or ones that do exist but they're bad, or ones that don't exist and they're evil, and you start killing people for it, you very easily become the bad god. Why is that so hard to understand?
I don't know if I brought this up recently or to you at all, but I actually heard somebody make a really interesting comment that there's actually a theory that the Bible is actually telling the story of two entirely separate and independent deities.
Okay.
And
All right.
the God of the New Testament is literally rescuing people from like the chaotic, evil, mean God of the Old Testament.
That would be super interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, because
This guy's a shithead.
This guy fucking sucks. And I am sorry to people watching this who are expecting jokes. This is exhausting.
Oh, it is.
And it's almost annoying just because you're like I'm trying to actually learn about the Bible, and we're so stuck on the Israelites just murdering people. And it's not even for anything. Like, if these people were bad, or even if they were just like, even if I can follow a story about shitty people doing things as long as I understand, like, fucking Let There Be Blood. I don't like that movie, but it is a good movie because this motherfucker is evil and is just trying to make more money and gain more power and doesn't give a fuck about who he hurts. And it's like, well, I know what his motives are, so I can watch this movie and understand. I do not know why they're killing all these people. The motivation is not strong enough or clear enough for me as a person trying to read
there
a
is
story.
no motivation.
There's none.
They were told go do this and they say okay, and then they kind of do it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the whole thing.
Fucking dumb.
Ow!